All right, guys, welcome to Lit Survey 11. We are going to be doing a little bit of a quiz review for today to get us ready for your test on Monday. So, we're going to talk about how we can prepare for our comprehension test. By the end of the lesson, we'll be able to identify elements of plot, key vocabulary, and inferences from the whistle to review for your test on Monday. All right. So, to summarize our story, we have 14-year-old Chatita's paternal grandmother comes to stay with the family while her parents are away. Chatita's mother urges the children to watch out for Abuela as well. While doing chores on a windy day, Chatita hears a goat bleating all day, thinking it will be their supper later. Chatita and her brothers discover the bleating was their grandmother yelling because the wind locked her in the shed with a bad latch all day long. Abuela is infuriated with Chatita, demands she be punished, and gives her the silent treatment. Chatita buys her a whistle so she can always hear her. Abuela tests her by pretending to be locked in the shed, and Chatita hears her. The whistle symbolizes that Chatita will always do her best to be there for her. So we have our elements of plot. So what we need to do is be able to match these. So we're looking for rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. Our rising action was the day was turning cold. I faintly heard what sounded like a goat bleating, so I looked around, seeing nothing. I hurried back to the house to finish my chores. Our climax is I flipped the hook up and flung open the door. There, sitting on the floor, wrapped in burlap bags, was my cold and shivering grandmother. Our falling action is 2 weeks later, I asked to go with my father to the big yellow store in town. I bought a silver whistle and a long piece of blue satin ribbon. That evening, I placed the whistle in a little box, which then leads to our resolution, which is she hurried out of the shed and we started toward the house. I could see she was smiling, and I think I even heard her chuckling. So we also have some vocab terms. So we're going to identify a person that behaves in a paternal way. So that could be a father, that could be an uncle, could be a coach who takes an interest in helping, anyone who maybe acts like a typical what you would think of a father should be acting. Something that is savory. So we're going to think of something that is salty or spicy, not in the sweet field. So maybe some type of meat or something like chips is something that would be savory. A situation that would make you feel infuriated and explain why. So anything that would make you agitated or angry. Maybe when you miss the bus or if you don't do well on a test, if you get in a fight with your parent or your friend. Something that's infuriating to you. What type of animal makes a bleating noise? Well, we learned from our story that is usually a goat or a sheep. What does the narrator suddenly realize? What does the narrator suddenly realize in this moment? We don't have any goats, said Chewy. I gasped and said, "Oh my goodness, come with me, hurry." I bounded out the kitchen door. We could probably infer that since mom asked them to check on Abuela this whole time, that she would need help as well. And once her brothers said that they didn't have any goats that they were planning to slaughter for supper, she realized that she hadn't seen Abuela all day. So we can infer that she starts to immediately realize that it's Abuela who's been making that noise. And we are going to do a little Nearpod review as well. So we have some questions here. The author of The Whistle is A. Jim Murphy, B. Ana Esteves, or C. Flora Rivera. That is actually Ana Esteves. In the short story, we're introduced to Chatita's paternal grandmother coming to stay with the family. Her name is A. Mary, B. Carmen, or C. Carla. It's actually Carmen. In lines 11 to 12, the narrator states, "Then Mama turned around and quietly said to my brothers and me, 'Children, please take care of your grandmother.' Mama was trying to say to the children that Abuelita was unable to care for herself. Abuelita did not want to visit. Abuelita would be looking after the children, but they would need to look after her as well." And that would obviously be C. Chatita does not realize Abuelita is missing because instead of hearing her grandmother's cries, she believes she hears a goat bleating, a cow being milked, or her brother shouting. And we know that that is a cow bleeding. How did Abuelita get locked in the shed the second time around? Was it the winds? No, she did it herself. And in lines 94 to 95, Abuelita says, "Just you wait, Telesfora. Just you wait until your father gets home. I'll have him punish you," she said, and her bottom lip quivered and her nostrils flared. Up until now, her grandmother had called her Chatita. What is the significance of her using her full name? To show the seriousness of the situation and that she wanted her full attention because she'd forgotten it before or she did not like her name. We know that she was trying to say that she was being serious and she wanted her to pay attention. And that is the end of our test review.